He's the president of YOSI. Dr. Prasanna is in space in Trichy. He is also a glaucoma surgeon like Saiba. Dr. Sonal, ma'am, is the immediate past president from Jaipur. Dr. Karan, you'll be meeting very soon. He is from Meerut. He's the vice president and next president. And Dr. Nilesh, who you heard but you couldn't see, is the secretary of YOSI.
Got it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you for your support. We do hope that we add value to this gathering. And if there's anything that you feel that we want to do more or customize or change or something that you feel very close, and it's something that Policy Bazaar for Business can solve, then we are all ears. I know that you're eye doctors, but we listen too.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you.
Thank you, doctor.
Happy anniversary. And
Thank you. To the next slide.
we are live. We can start. Happy anniversary, Tarun.
Thank you.
And we
So-
have, I think the introductions to do that. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for introducing the GC members of the society. And I would like to introduce Rakesh sir, who's with us over here. Rakesh sir is actually he's a senior advocate. He's a managing partner at Triton Legal, one of the most respected law firms in Delhi. And he is a senior consultant with Medins Legal, which is an offshoot and which specializes in the medical legal cases. We also have Kushal with us. Kushal is the main guy at Medins Legal, and we work very, very closely, almost like hand in glove. And they've been extremely instrumental in helping us set this entire vertical up. And they are our legal partners. So when we claim that any kind of legal assistance or any kind of consultation that would be required, it's Rakesh sir and Kushal at the back end. So thank you so much for your presence, sir.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone, and congratulations to Mr. Tarun.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining
And
us.
we'll be looking forward to your inputs in the following slides, sir, when we'll be discussing some claim examples where the insights that you will be shared will be like completely invaluable.
Please.
I am Ashu Bajaj.
Let
So
me
I've been a
introduce
part.
you. I've
Okay.
prepared your introduction. So Ashu Bajaj is the head of direct business for commercial insurance at Policy Bazaar for Business. He's brought about 14 years plus experience with him in scaling internet products and driving business growth. His strategic approach in understanding market needs and leveraging insurtech solutions has been key in shaping tailored insurance offerings. And Ashu, with his strategic foresight, has played a pivotal role in getting both the societies together. And he's also going to be our main point of the pivot of the entire strategic partnership between YOSI and Policy Bazaar for Business.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. Thanks, Aditya. I'm myself impressed with my profile now. Thank you so much. So we'll continue. We'll quickly move on to some of the claim examples to begin with. So first, a very quick introduction about Policy Bazaar for Business as such. I don't think Policy Bazaar is a brand, and this is not coming in any kind of a vain fashion, but it's a household name. What a lot of people don't identify Policy Bazaar with is that we have a separate insurance vertical for professionals and SMEs, which is really large. I mean, we disbursed close to about 1,500 crores of premium last year across various insurance companies for SMEs and doctors. As we speak, we are the largest insurance broker in India. We are the only publicly listed broker in India. And last year, give or take, we disbursed around almost close to about 21,000 crore of premium across all insurance companies. There are 4.7 crore policies that we manage across professional and personal fronts, with close to about 1.8 crores unique customers with us. As for this particular vertical, where we start focusing on the insurance requirements in the healthcare space, whether it's the indemnity insurance or the asset insurance, we have close to about 10,000 doctors already onboarded with us over the last 2 years. Because before that, it was being done in a very sporadic fashion. Now that we have a kind of tested and we have a lot of confidence in scaling this up. So this association with YOSI, which we see as a big first win and a very big validation for us also. So thank you so much once again. Moving forward. So one of the claim examples I would want to begin with, that specifically we all know why do we need insurance, right? And more often than not, we don't observe any adverse experiences. But just to kind of simplify that, why are we doing what we are doing is because we realize the need of insurance and the profession that we are in. Let's say this very simple case, and I'll kind of trim it. That if there was a cataract surgery done, and this is a live example, this is a real example. So when the policy, like thankfully the doctor already had the policy, the surgery was done somewhere around between March 2023 to October 2023. The claim was intimated in October 2023. So it so happens that the claim might not come immediately after the surgery or the consultation. It can follow. I mean, it can also occur when, let's say, the past policy has lapsed. So one of the most important things that we have to do in the indemnity insurance is we have to maintain the continuity of the policy. So in this case, the policy was bought for the first time, and there was an allegation that because the customer was feeling a bit of a discomfort, there was an allegation that there was a case of negligence. Now, whether or not it was a negligent case, to arrive to that point, before that, there are a lot of these, legal notices and the replies and the hearings which need to be, kind of attended to, and that's how the system is. And that doesn't come free of charge. So in this case, the doctor of course chose to go with somebody in their family or maybe a lawyer of his or her choice, and the legal defense cost and the compensation both are settled. So this is a very plain Jane case because it was a cataract surgery. The customer felt that, the customer was negligent. And here the main, in the court of law, the allegation was kind of dismissed. So there was no compensation as such over here that was paid out. Next one. Now, this is a very interesting example, which of course I learned through the members of this August House, that the ROP surgery is something which is a very, very critical surgery, and it's most prone to, some kind of allegation in future. So one of the examples over here is that the surgery on a premature infant was, it was a very complex procedure which was performed, and it was deemed successful. The infant was responding well during the follow-up visits. But about 3 to 4 months later, the parents kind of raised an issue or a concern that there's a blurry vision, and they blamed the doctor for not, handling the case very, very properly. In this particular case, the claims made by the parents were strengthened because of lack of documentation. Now, this is one area where in the following, like if there are any questions, and we'll have Rakesh sir and Kushal also here to address it, that why this documentation part kind of becomes very, very necessary, and it helps us, kind of process the claim speedily. So loss of documentation and any kind of, related events is something that's covered in this policy. What will not be covered in this policy, I'll take this opportunity to discuss about that, is like, let's say if there was a documentation which was done not in the right state of mind. So if a documentation was misplaced, or let's say the documentation carried was correct, but the surgery performed was done in an inebriated state, in that case, the policy claim would not get triggered. In fact, there's one very interesting use case I should tell, that let's say by the time it's identified that the negligence was not negligence, it was gross negligence. There's something called gross negligence, which is not actually admissible, right, in these policies. तब तक 3-4 hearing तो हो जाती है, तो उसमें जो लीगल फीस इन्वॉल्व होता है वो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी तब तक दे चुकी होती है, बट देयर इज अ क्लॉज इन द इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी कॉपी दैट द इंश्योरर kind of retains the right to recovery. This has almost never happened, right, like in small cases, but that's one condition that insurance companies do keep in place. But in this such a case, what would happen कि legal fees अगर मान लीजिए डिस्पर्स हो भी गया है, तो आगे जब compensation award होगा, वो compensation का पैसा फिर नहीं दिया जाएगा in case that gross negligence was, kind of observed. And what exactly are these cases of gross negligence and exclusions I'll be talking about in detail. Sure, Dipanshu, I'll take this question right after I've kind of, walked through the next couple of slides. So this is the right example for that. So this basically what happened was that there were pediatrician and optho. There were 2 doctors involved in this particular case, where the pediatrician had referred a case to an ophthalmologist, and the documentation that was provided, that did not carry, things very accurately. Now, this was a case of genuine mistake. Like it wasn't like कि मैंने एक फाइल पे एक नाम ही गलत लिख दिया. जो डायग्नोसिस किया गया था एंड जिस हिसाब से आगे ट्रीट करना था, the document, if let's say was not complete, and the way it was read, and it was a critical case, and some the surgery needed to be performed because it could have like led to, let's say, a loss of eyesight or something even more diverse. So such a case over here, when it's established in the court of law that it's negligence, I mean, the ophthalmologist or the pediatrician, they did not act out of any kind of willful intent or any, with a criminal intent. In such a case, the legal representation cost, the compensation for any kind of additional medical expenses, everything was settled. One thing over here is to be noted that out of court settlement is also taken care of over here. Because more often than not, what happens is कि जब case थोड़ा stretch होने लगता है ना, then both the parties want to like kind of settle it over there. And it's more than welcome in this policy. The out of court settlement is also something which is legally it is a recognized way to end a feud or a legal feud. Kushal, Rakesh sir, please correct me if I, somewhere if I'm not able to place it very, very correctly.
Please. Besides this, there are certain other exclusions also. I'll come with the time coming. Please, in the meantime, you can continue. I'll take the last.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any questions so far? And I'll very quickly take Dipanshu's question also at this juncture.
Dipanshu, you can ask your question. That way, when it goes live, everybody knows.
My question is since you guys have been covering like a lot of doctors probably till now, so what is the maximum amount that has been settled by Policy Bazaar, and like what was the actual amount and what has been the maximum amount that has been settled till now?
So we
Is
have
there
been very
any
fortunate.
number?
Yeah, I can tell you the numbers that I have, right? I have some industry stats also. So like in the last 2 years, whatever policies we have dispersed, which is close to about 10,000, we have not seen a very huge claim amount come to us so far. Like the biggest compensation that we have been a part of associated with has been 50 lakhs, and the policy cover was about about a crore. So only about 50% of the policy was consumed between the legal cost and the compensation that was awarded. And that was not an ophthalmology practice. That was a dental practice, actually, where it happened. Though we have heard of cases where the legal cost actually kind of, it outweighs the compensation. So let's say if somebody would want to take a lawyer whose fee is significantly high, and the number of hearings, they just keep on increasing, like tariq pe tariq, as we know, right? So eventually the compensation awarded by the court may come out to be कि ठीक है आपको इतना डैमेज हुआ है and इस तरीके से हम एक justified amount समझते हैं, but legal fee actually kind of outweighed. So there have been cases where there have been like good 3 to 4 crores of settlement being done by the insurance companies. As for us, I would say that in our experience, anything above 1 CR it's a very fair and it's a very decent sum insured cover that we should be taking, a cover amount, though it's very directly proportional to the amount of surgeries you have already performed. Your practice, like when we underwrite policies for plastic surgeons and cosmetic surgeons, that comes at a very high cost. And for them also, any kind of electric surgeries are excluded. It has to be an accidental case because they're most prone to any kind of allegation. Cover sab hota hai, premium thoda sa zyada le liya jata hai हमसे. For ophthalmologists, the risk is not very high. There are just 2 categories. And as I have understood, almost every ophthalmologist is performing a surgery. So we put them in the surgeon category. The rates that we have been, and I'll get to that later, that we have been able to get specifically for YOSI are like rock bottom. And that's something where we have used a bit of our muscle power also because we place a lot of business with the insurance companies. That's why. But I can promise you one thing, you won't be able to find those rates anywhere over the counter, anywhere else. So, Dipanshu, I think about 1 crore, 2 crore cover is something which is very, very fair and very justified.
Yeah, because the knowledge and awareness regarding these cases is rising amongst general population, and especially in ROP, like you mentioned, retinopathy of prematurity. Compensation is awarded in probably in crores only. Like highest I've heard is 1.64 crores. Somewhere like so in one of the cases, because the child gets blind since childhood, and so they take into consideration a lot of things from the date of filing the case till that date final amount is being punished. So they take calculate interest also. So a lot of things come into calculation actually.
May I add, please?
Yes, Rakesh, sir, please go ahead.
Actually, what has happened in the last couple of years, because I am working in from last 2 to 3 decades in medical insurance. So what we have seen from last 2 to 3 years or the 5 years, we can say the claim ratio is comparatively much higher. The people are suing very easily. They are suing. They are sending notices because the lawyers, I'll not say, but the legal team are working over them for the patients. So first of all, every doctor, since you are dealing with the most sensitive part of the body, eyes. So suppose any qualified person come for any operation, unfortunately things got bad and he filed a suit or asking for damages under Consumer Protection Act or under civil tort law, because there are three options he has. First, filing a criminal case, but for criminal case, they have to prove rashness and gross rashness, I'll say. And for consumer court, he can simplicity file a claim before the consumer court, and consumer court pro consumers mostly, unless until you show something that there was no negligence on the part of the doctor. The third part comes now, the people are started filing a suit also in civil courts. The civil courts are also taking care of this kind of proceedings against the doctors. So suppose a qualified person who is having a salary of around 5 to 10 crores annum and his one of the eye or two eyes unfortunately got damaged. So his compensation could be in crores, multiple crores, you can well understand. So first of all, we should have insurance. That is a requirement which we can't ignore now. We should have a professional indemnity insurance. That is a must. Once we enter into this practice, means medical healthcare practice, we should be insured. Number two, the things come that we should have adequately some insured with us. Now, since you have a very good brokers with you who can negotiate for on a part of the premium, who can provide the best policy available, maximum least exclusions and the maximum coverage. So PolicyBzaar is one of the best name in that field. So taking a policy at least for 1 crore to 2 crore is, I think, is the reasonable amount. As per me, as per my experience, what we have seen, because we remain in court. So what we are seeing, the court's attitude is altogether 1 crore, 2 crore is nothing when the eye is lost. Both eyes are lost, suppose. So God forbid. So let Mr. Ashu can start in case of my need.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for chipping in, Rakesh, sir. Just to latch on to what you said right now, what's been recorded right now, as per the secondary sources, that almost 5 million cases for medical negligence were filed last year. Now, almost half of them was where the notice was sent and then the plaintiff refused to show up. Right? Exactly, there was no follow. But the deal is that the number of cases being filed every year, they are rising. In my personal experience, last year I met one of our customers who was a dentist in Bombay. And she actually, there was an allegation against her only because the dentist felt that they could actually hardball. Because the entire clinic was full of, the doctor was a female and the assistants were also females. So there was just this very natural flair कि वहां पे जाके थोड़ा सा कड़क वॉइस में बात करेंगे तो ये लोग डर जाएंगे घबरा जाएंगे. So even cases as stupid as this do happen. So this thing about people being a little aware about keep sue karte hain and all this, definitely they are on a rise. And the last thing we want is like we want to focus on our medical practice, right? Even if something like this happens, we are here to guide you on what should be the next steps. And as long as the policy, like buying the policy is most important. Even if you don't want to buy from PolicyBzaar, it's fine. I mean, what we are doing with you is something that we want to be partners in creating something which is a unique experience. And it goes beyond only indemnity insurance. It has to be the insurance for your clinics. It's your personal insurance requirements. It's about the entire healthcare space that we are completely focused on. But having the insurance, as Rakesh sir said, is most important. Then having it with a considerate broker, where I would say somebody like PolicyBzaar or somebody you put a complete trust in, so that they can handhold you very, right from that first instant of that legal notice coming in. That's very important. What I've actually learned over the last year after speaking with a few doctors, that they have had a policy in place. They've actually had an adverse experience also, but at that point of time, they just did not know how to, kind of claim or how to go about it. तो उन्होंने वहीं पे सेटल करके खत्म कर दिया.
Correct. So just for discussion's sake, another few things that I understood after speaking to you, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not only necessary that your hospital should have an indemnity. It's also necessary personally also you should have, and both your hospital. Suppose, for example, we own a hospital, so or we are part of a hospital. The hospital itself has to have an indemnity much higher than what a personal indemnity should be, because often when a case goes down, the hospital is sued at 2x and the doctor is sued at x. So it's very important to get both for per person. So I know Prasanna has a hospital, Divakant has a hospital chain. So it's very important to put this message also out there, because a lot of young ophthalmologists do require that extra knowledge about this. Second, Divakant wrote a very nice question. Divakant, that's something that I've also thought about. Why don't you read your question so that they can guide us?
Right. So a lot of our members happen to be residents or, fellows who are in training in some institute. So do you recommend they should get an indemnity, number one? Do you have any of them, you have insured any of the residents yet? And do you know about any cases that has been, filed against these residents?
Not really, sir.
Not really. And do you
I'll actually go back and find out. But if you're a resident in a hospital, then it's imperative. I mean, it's very tacit that you're already covered when the hospital has a policy. What's really required over here is that uh, I think, okay, I should not comment ahead of, like, I should not get ahead of myself. Allow me some time to get back to
Sure.
actually understand that what exactly defines a resident over here. And a resident would have a medical registration number, right?
Yes.
They
So
do.
these are, of course, they have done their medical education and they are into a specialty training right
In the
now.
post graduation.
May,
So
may
they
I
are
add?
liable.
May I clarify, please?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Sir.
Suppose any resident doctor has be part of the treatment. Suppose he's a chain, his name comes in the chain, or he has signed any documents or medical treatment document, and in that case, something God forbid, something happens, then certainly he's responsible, so he should buy it.
Yes. That's
And
exactly the
secondly, sir, I'm so sorry, I'm interrupting so much. As Dr. Sethi has asked, because the hospitals are made liable on the account of vicarious liability. So treating
Yeah.
doctor should have its own policy and hospital should have its own policy, because hospital are made only because of the vicarious liable part.
And a lot of times people make both of them parties as well, right? The doctor and the hospital.
Indeed, all the times.
Yeah.
An
So
allegation being made directly on a resident is something that I should, actually go back and check. More often than not, it's the hospital or the institute. And as long as they have the policy and the residents are, kind of, covered through this, I don't see any problem. But thank you so much for asking this question. It's given me some fodder for thought.
right,
I
because there's
have a point of view
a
here.
few
Point here.
populations.
So the residents are going to be a part of the treatment, and many times the cases are against the faculty member who's the main person involved in the surgery. If we're talking about a surgical case, mostly that we are discussing here. So the surgeon becomes the person who has the vicarious responsibility of all those employed under him, as far as my understanding goes. So not the hospital, but the main faculty member and the residents, if they are being assigned that case. So we don't have a separate, as yet in our college, we don't have a separate consent form for a surgery being done by resident. I think that will also come into practice later on.
Yeah.
The question is very good, because in US, all the resident cases have to be told to the patient that you will be operated by a trainee surgeon. As of now, I don't think it's happening in India that we are explicitly telling the patient that you are being operated by a trainee surgeon. So here, probably the responsibilities of the main faculty and the hospital, but hospitals are generally not taking that much responsibility. The main doctor, but the residents, yes, if this is going to be on the rise, they must consider taking insurance
Yes.
as well.
A lot of times that I see that on those prescription pads, the stamp of the resident is there. The main consultant's name would be there somewhere on the top, but most of the times their name is being stamped. So if somebody is filing a suit, they might want to involve everybody whose name is there in the papers. So that happens a lot. So we had an incident where, a lot of doctors were involved. A cornea surgeon was involved, retina surgeon, cataract surgeon. So the person went ahead and filed cases against, everybody whose name was there in the papers. So from that perspective, I think it might be important. Yeah.
Fair points. Got it. I've made a note of this. I'll get back to you very soon on this. Actually, in our experience, we have only had like doctors above about 2 to 3 years of experience who claim and who have not been residents and they don't declare as such. But let me go back and take a look. This is just like a very concise view of the kind of, if I have to bucketize the events that can lead to the policy triggering, that what kind of risks that we face. The one is, of course, like misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis. That is an allegation that comes up very, very often. The other is some kind of complication that happens during the surgery or after the surgery, sometimes a couple of weeks after the surgery that the patient feels so. Medical negligence is something which it's a very broad term. Any kind of negligence is admissible in the policy unless it's kind of proven in the court that there was a malicious intent or it was done in a inebriated state. The adverse patient reaction, let's say, there is some kind of medication that follows after your surgery, and the patients don't feel very, very nice about the kind of medication they've been put on, or they lead to some kind of side effects. This has also led to some kind of allegations. The informed consent causes are basically that, let's say, a patient may claim that before performing the surgery, you did not kind of consult me very properly on what the post-op care is and what possibly what other things you'll have to possibly live with. Now, this is something that happens very often. The confidentiality breaches and fraud accusations are something which are taken very, very seriously over here, because that is something which takes a lot of time to kind of establish. Now, the confidentiality breach over here, if I give you a very basic example, is, let's say, on a common forum, let's say a webinar like this, right? I just kind of disclose the name or the whereabouts of a particular patient in the case, even if it was done in, not with the wrong intent. But that is something which is a breach of confidentiality. And when any kind of fraud accusation is something when the customer is not actually filing a consumer case against you, it's kind of, something which is going to be on the criminal lines, that you've done something willfully. And that's when it becomes a little tricky. So given all these kind of risks, the insurance that we have in place for us, and it's a very standard policy. Sorry, Aditya.
Yeah, please.
I'll take that question. Sorry. I just saw your comment. That's all.
Oh,
So I just want to call this out very loud, that the professional indemnity insurance being offered by all the leading insurers, and almost about 12 leading insurance companies offer this without any, hiccups. I know a few very leading insurance companies who don't have this product because they don't see it as a preferred risk. And that's how the IRDA and this entire insurance domain works, that you have to actually file a product with the IRDA before, delivering it. So I've heard this on many forums through many people that as a concerned broker or an agent was able to get you more coverages than what's been given. That is something which is completely false. It's a very standard policy. So if tomorrow anybody, any intermediary, whether it's an agent, your bank, a broker, a PolicyBzaar, who comes out and claims that I've been able to add a few coverages in your policy, right? And it's a very special policy we have bundled for you. That's a pure white lie. It's a very standard policy. We understand what kind of risks any kind of medical practitioner has to face. And all the coverages over there have been defined. It's a very, based on those kind of risks. And I have not seen any difference in any kind of coverage being offered by all the leading insurance companies. What brokers can help you while bundling the plan is reducing the excess in the policy, if there was any. Excess is basically something that comes out of your pocket. It can help you in, kind of expanding the, let's say, the period in which you need to intimate the claim. And it can completely handhold you in the event of a claim. It can give you legal assistance. It can patch you with a panel of senior doctors who can help you assess the case. And of course, the premiums that are dispersed, which are, very, very highly important for actually delivering the policy. So that is the value that we bring to the table. And I would like to talk about that in detail over the next 2 slides. Any question on this part so far? Because we have Rakesh sir with us. If you just want to understand what exactly does breach of duty or what does tail reporting coverage, what exactly does it entail, then I think we can spend 2 minutes here.
Yes, a lot of
I
these
think,
terms are alien to us, right?
yes, if you can just make it more simpler for us to understand what is covered, what is not covered,
So
that
I would understood. So let's go to exclusions. I think this is probably going to give us a very, very clear picture on what kind of allegations are not covered. And eventually, so if there is any elective surgery done, let's say a plastic surgery or a weight loss surgery, and specifically what's been mentioned across policies is like, let's say if there's a contraction of HIV during your surgery, these cases are not covered. That's a blanket exclusion. The second thing, of course, is when it's established in the...
Aju, you said elective surgeries. So cataract surgeries are all elective surgeries.
correct.
No, cataract surgeries they're evolving out of a need, Karan.
Okay.
Understand a weight loss surgery, or let's say
I
if I
think
have
he's saying
to fix my
cosmetic.
nose. Maybe I did not use the right word. Maybe elective is not the right word. Let's use any
Cosmetic.
elective cosmetic surgery.
Cosmetic. So LASIK won't be covered in this. Is that correct?
LASIK one.
Okay.
LASIK is not covered in health policies also, as much as I understand. There are very special plans which come out with that.
Yeah. All right. I think we can just find out about LASIK as well, because that seems to be a gray zone according to me, because it
In
may be
such
cosmetic to start with, but it's become a surgery of need.
It's not exactly a cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a gray zone. So we may have to be careful there as well.
because a lot of these like we are empaneled with Reserve Bank of India, so till a certain degree of myopia they allow,
Yeah.
yeah, they allow it. Below that they don't allow it, because then it becomes a functional surgery. And
So most of the insurance is also now becoming more sensitive towards it, and they're coming. Anyway, that's another day. Any other?
So I'm going to go back with these questions actually. One about the resident. As far as I know, the LASIK surgeries are not covered, but that's a very valid point. And given what you have said right now, that even the government recognizes a certain level, I'm definitely going to have a chat around this.
Okay.
Because I understand this is like one of the most important things for us. Like when we talk about all specializations, maybe it becomes a very tiny thing, but for ophthalmologists, this is a very, very mainstream thing.
Second thing, the second point.
Any kind of deliberate act when it's kind of established in the code of law that ये जानबूझ के किया गया था, तो या फिर एक criminal intent के साथ किया गया था. So any kind of criminal case filed against the doctor is so in the
Pertaining to
code of
the
law it
case
has to
only.
be. Sorry.
Pertaining to the practice, not like personal criminal case, but sometimes you can file civil cases, but sometimes they might file criminal under the criminal lawsuit also. Is that possible?
Can you give me an example?
No, like usually these cases, what they file is against the doctor, they might come under civil cases also, but sometimes they file it under the criminal cases also. That's what I've heard. Obviously, I've not come across any example.
I think so. I can give you one example over here. Let's say if there's a predetermination of sex, during the birth, in the case of gynecologists and obstetricians, where a family might, kind of put an allegation कि आपने जानबूझ के ऐसा किया है because, my in-laws or somebody they did not want. I'm talking about a very, a very prevalent example that we know.
May I add, sir?
Yes, please.
PNDT is a special act. Prenatal is a special act. So suppose anyone finds that is itself is an offense, but Dr. Dipanshu has asked about suppose a patient is aggrieved from any treatment. So he has a right to file a civil suit for compensation or consumer complaint. The secondly, he can also file a criminal complaint as well. But in criminal complaint, there are two judgments of the Supreme Court, Jacob Matthew and Martin D'Souza. So they come for the rescue of the doctors, because in criminal case, they have to prove the gross rashness. Means the exercise apparently means the person who's an orthopedician is doing the treatment of ophthalmologist, or the person is not competent enough and still he's putting the surgeries or he's doing the treatment. So that is a criminal case. Only in those circumstances, a criminal case can be filed against the doctors. Otherwise, not possible.
Thank you.
So Rakesh, I have a question on this front. Like, let's say, even if it was a civil case, right? And it can, during the code of law, it can be established that there was a willful intent, like maybe not. If there's a criminal case against a doctor, then in the code of law, it can be, kind of dismissed as a non-criminal activity.
No, Ashuji, willful intent is a one thing. Willful intent only because of the vendetta. It is a case where the acute or rash carelessness was there.
Absolutely.
Means the person was not competent. That's the first part. We can take it. And because what we are discussing, the medical negligence. Suppose criminal proceeding arising out of the medical negligence. So criminal intent is concerned when the person is knowing that I'm doing this act and the consequences of my doing this action would bring these results. Then he is doing it. So that is a criminal intent. We can that will come under the scope of the criminal intent. But in criminal negligence, there is also some other features. Means that the person is not competent providing treatment and. As per law, because the Supreme Court has laid down certain riders before proceeding a criminal case against a doctor rising out of medical negligence cases, means there has to be committee by the government panel doctors or the district court, district medical committee. And only once the committee finds out that there is a negligence, exercise negligence, the doctor should have not done it, then the criminal case can continue. Otherwise, criminal case will not initiated against any doctor. So most of the cases, 90% of criminal cases against doctors arising out of medical negligence goes waste.
Hmm.
So
Got
we
it.
have not seen any conviction.
Got it. Understood. So I think, Dipanshu, I totally understood your question, whether, it's in a personal capacity or the professional capacity. Now I understand, like, what exactly. If there is any kind of, let's say, if it's established that the surgery or the consultation was not done in a sober state and, it was under the influence of narcotics or alcohol, that's when the policy does not get triggered. And any kind of penalties, disciplinary, criminal acts, fines, and exemplary damage is something which is not covered, which Rakesh sir has already covered.
I have a
इसके
quick
अलावा
question.
honestly any kind of allegation, right? जो आपको पहला notice जो होता है from assigning a lawyer, then sending a reply to the notice, then kind of hearings till the till there's a firing hearing, any kind of legal fees involved, and the policy that we are offering to YOSI, there is no deductible also. There's going to be zero out of pocket expense.
Excellent. So I have a question for sir. Rakesh sir, we do a lot of trust hospitals, so we do a lot of free surgeries. So are they also liable for being sued?
Since there is one judgment wherein it has been held that the proceeding can be initiated against the government hospital as well, who are not charging. So trust will come under that scope.
Okay.
So proceeding can be initiated because one has gone within a trust, gone in a trust hospital with a trust to have a good treatment. And suppose there is a negligence, certainly they are liable to do so. But the question comes, the other party can take a stand, the trust hospital or nursing home can take a stand that there was no consideration involved, so there was no consumer kind of relations. But the Supreme Court has recently laid down a judgment that even government hospital are covered, because sometimes medicines becomes the consideration part. You charge for medicine, you charge for registration of 10 rupees or 1 rupees, that becomes the consideration. So it depends.
Understood.
So may I ask something? So, insurance cover, I've written the chat as well that insurance cover is being provided to the public on some very low cost, like 700 rupees for the whole year or something. And then a certain sum is being insured when you are domiciled of a certain area. And then those people are coming to the government hospital. So, like, is the doctor liable or is the hospital? Because we are as such working with the government, but we're not directly I really don't know how that thing.
हाँ बिल्कुल आप जाओगे ना उधर आप पैर रखोगे ना वो ऐसे यूं भाग जाएंगे आपसे गाने
Sorry, yeah. So, like the person who's the patient has paid for an insurance at a very low cost and is being covered for a certain number of surgeries, and then the government is taking money from that insurance company. So, in a way, there's a sort of a consumer relationship established, I guess. So the government doctor that is coming under that particular, for that particular patient, if that person files a case, so is the government liable or the doctor himself is liable?
The question is to me or to Mr. Ashuji?
To you, sir. To you.
Please. As far as it depends, suppose a person who is suing, the patient who is suing is pleading doctor as well as the hospital as a party, or doctor only as a party, or hospital as a party. Suppose he sues a doctor as a party, so the doctor can take a stand that I was working in a government hospital, so I'm not liable, but certainly he or she should take a policy that was better. He can sue and they can be made liable.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Because the negligence is only a per se, it is a skill. It is not the hospital who was negligent in providing treatment, and the hospital liability would only come when the instrument or something goes wrong.
Okay.
When there is no oxygen cylinder or something, light goes, and while doing the operation, something. But when the doctor who's performing having a reasonable skill and he performs wrongly, then the doctor is liable.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Proceed. Now, as opposed to anybody who's dispersing this policy, and there's of course an option to go buy directly from the insurance companies as well. I think the kind of benefits that we and the value that we bring to the table is that, of course, our association with Rakesh sir and Kushal. So Medens Legal and PolicyBzaar have a MOU in place where we ensure that in case of any of our customers, and not only the doctors who are customers, any kind of customers who need any kind of legal assistance, right? Because there are a bunch of liability products out there. They're always there, and they have a pan-India network. We operate 365 days a year because we, as all of you would know, the PolicyBzaar app and website and the customer support behind it, it's a 365 days, 24/7 experience. What we offer on top is a dedicated account manager for our corporates and a dedicated relationship manager for all our healthcare professionals. So all the healthcare practitioners who are with us, you'll be assigned a dedicated RM who you can reach out to any time. Like there'll be a direct hotline, not a hotline exactly, like there'll be a direct number. There'll be a person at the end who'll be working like very closely with you to cater to any insurance need in future. Any kind of personal assistance. So what we have created specifically for YOSI is a dedicated hotline number. And what we are working on right now and will be live very soon is going to be a WhatsApp bot experience. So basically, there is going to be a handle called PolicyBzaar for Business Dog Buddy, where you'll just have to drop your name and your YOSI registration number, and it will know automatically how to engage with you. So that's just the experience of a website or an app being translated onto a WhatsApp, which is going to be far, far easier. And I mean, instant policy copy is something that, how are we different from Dockland? Okay. Good. So instant policy copy, which is not something which is very, something that we should be harping about right now, because this is something we achieved about 5 years back. But yeah, we know that maybe the Docklands and CoverUs of the world, they take some time to actually, kind of deliver the policy. We issue it instantly. Sir, just to address your question, I mean, honestly, I'm not very sure what exactly is the value offering or the promise made by other parties. There are a few which I would not like to comment on right now, where we see some false promises being made. Like there's one thing which I called out very, very, early during my presentation, is that there are a lot of people who go out in the market claiming that they have been able to procure a bunch of benefits for a particular set of doctors or for a particular specialization, whereas it's a very, very inherent, it's a very inherent part of the policy. So that is something that we don't do. We take a lot of pride in, kind of delivering the lowest rates, which I think you can compare. It's an open forum, so you'll be able to compare it with other people. And maybe the association that the other bodies that you're a part of, they already have. We are the only publicly listed broker, so there's a lot of reputation at stake. I mean, there's a hotline for you, and no kind of negative, comments or any kind of negative feedback will be appreciated over here, because it kind of affects, everybody, not only the customers, not only the promoters, but every single shareholder of the company. So all this is something that we think kind of adds to our merit. And of course, this association with Medens Legal is something that we take a lot of pride in. I would actually be very keen to know if you have an offer document from, let's say, Dockland or any other broker in question, where I would like to assess if there is something that you think or anybody else might think that is something that we lack, and we would definitely work on that. What we have done exclusively for us, and I would, Aditya knows very well about this, is that the kind of rates that we've been able to get for us, they are something that nobody else in the market has. This specifically because we were a smaller group and we were really, really gung-ho about this association and we really wanted this to fly. So after multiple meetings with Aditya, I actually got our partners, I convinced them, and the kind of rates that we have, and the circular that Aditya would have, circulated with amongst the society, you can actually check it and you can, compare it. So that is something that we bring to the table. The tailored plans is something that the relationship manager that we'll be assigning to you is. What we have now realized is that most of the times the test of our capability doesn't lie in delivering these standard indemnity policies and the fire policies, but the policy that we can do for your families. So for your families and your personal assets. So the car insurance, health insurance, life insurance, any kind of personal insurance requirement that you may have. If initially, let's say, the teams were working in silos, that let's say my main job was to go out and sell to the SMEs and doctors, right? So I'll be devising products for them and, enriching a claim experience for them. That kind of left us a little secluded from the personal insurance requirements, and I would be passing on the case to somebody by not taking the ownership. That has completely changed. With this partnership for YOSI, what we have built internally is an engine where we'll be able to deliver the best rates, the maximum discounts for YOSI members across their personal and professional needs. And when we talk about the comprehensive protection, it's basically that once we cover you on the risk, like against all the risks, and primarily it's the 3Ds, that death, disease, and disability. We also understand that there are these financial goals, or because of our profession, any kind of these allocation can be a huge setback, and they can actually put a very, very big financial dent. So that's why we call it a very, very comprehensive protection across your protection against the 3Ds and indemnifying you just in case there's a financial loss. Unfortunately, there is one thing which no kind of insurance can cover, and that's one damage which is irreversible. That's reputational loss. So, but what does happen is, see, bad news make a lot of noise, right? That they just travel faster. So tomorrow, if there is any allegation and it kind of makes news, that news will be very, very loud, and it will be louder than the news which comes out that the allegation was false. That, unfortunately, any kind of insurance can't cover. Other than that, we got you back. There is one extra benefit that I just want to spend just 2 minutes on. So on the other side, we have about 5,000 corporates who are engaged with us, and we deliver the employee benefits to them. So if you've heard of the group health insurance, any kind of corporate delivers it to their company. So we have the customers to the as big as Axis Bank and as young as, let's say, a small startup with only about 10 employees. We bundle the insurance plans for them, for their employees. What we offer on top is a technology-driven platform so that their claims are just, they can get processed and they can get registered in a click, and you have complete eyes on what's happening on your claim, end-to-end assistance. So when we offer the OPD benefits to our customers, let's say in the form of health camps, eye checkup camps, some kind of Zuma classes, or the OPD consultation and the teleconsultation that we enable, what we have within YOSI-PolicyBzaar is a product called DocPrime. It's actually a subsidiary of YOSI-PolicyBzaar, which I would say is a combination of the Practos and 1MGs of the world. So it's basically a platform where doctors get registered with us. And it gives you a platform for your personal branding, a better reach, and getting more business. So if tomorrow, let's say, Nilesh, if there is a customer who's based out of Meerut and they have bought a GMC policy from us and they would want any kind of health camp to be delivered, you're the first person we'll be reaching out to. So that is something that we want to offer. The DocPrime as a product will be going live very soon in about 2 months, but that's not stopping us today from reaching out to our members for any kind of these local support needed at wherever our corporate customers are.
Excellent.
That's pretty much it from my side. Aditya, if you would like to share something, just
Yeah,
a few words
yeah,
before we jump
I
into the video.
absolutely. I think everybody should take a screenshot of the helpline dedicated, and we're all excited about the AI, especially the chatbot that you're going to make use with YOSI. Also, we've had conversations about bringing them to encourage young ophthalmologists. So Policy Bazaar is a big company, and we've somehow managed to speak to the heads of Policy Bazaar like Ashu, and get some sort of support and encouragement for young ophthalmologists in the journey between the tie-ups between Policy Bazaar and UOC. Um, Also, we have, I think pretty much the question out there is a lot of residents are part of UOC, a lot of fellows are part of UOC. So, getting them indemnity becomes of more and more importance in the future because we see more and more of these cases happening. And with the kind of finances now, the kind of money attached to indemnity, it gets a little difficult. But now, thanks to Policy Bazaar and Yosi tying up, the starting point, if I'm not wrong, is about 900 plus rupees only for a year of getting an indemnity, and then goes up depending on your capabilities and abilities. And I think that's great because that if I was a resident or if I was a fellow, just a mobile recharge amount makes me a little more secure in my profession. I think that's a great idea as well, and thanks to Policy Bazaar for that. We also have, as a customer myself, I had a great experience, and Ashu and his team has made it so easy for us to just get in touch with them, and within I think less than 24 hours, I got my indemnity done by them, and I got a good sum done for a bare minimum, and I think that encourages me as a young ophthalmologist to go ahead and do more surgeries, reach out to more people, and be a little more fearless. And I think I want everybody to feel that. So thank you once again for allowing us to do so. Um, we also have spoken about getting UOC members who also avail Policy Bazaar indemnity insurance to get a specific sort of boost in their travel grant or something that we can, like a potluck sort of a thing we can do, so that we can get more and more young ophthalmologists going out there, getting more academic gains and getting more, exposure to the global ophthalmology scenario with their help. We're working on things with them, and it's exciting for all of us. And I think it's going to get more and more uh, explosive. And before I should just one thing, we all want to just have a moment of silence because we lost a major stalwart of ophthalmology today. And if we can have that slide before we go into the next video, we would all like to take about 30 seconds to a minute and just mourn his loss. So, Dr. Ashok Khurana sir is somebody in ophthalmology who doesn't need any introduction. We've all read his books. We've all interacted. I'm a pediatric ophthalmologist, so I'm a big follower of his practice. He was a squint surgeon, and from our Haryana, he's been a name in ophthalmology to reckon with. So we lost him today, and I would like just ask everybody to keep 30 seconds of silence before we move on. Thank you, everybody. Um, I would request all our other general council members, Dipanshu, everybody to give a comment if they've availed any services or anything they want to point out before we move on to the next promotional video about the policy. And I think important words from the GC will come through that video.
I have a question. There are different charges. Suppose a case like a compensation has been awarded to the patient, and so there are various charges that come across, probably the lawyer fee, uh, fees for the court, and a lot of losses that occur due to like paperwork charges and handling staff in the court. So what all charges are covered under this policy and what are not covered in this or excluded from the policy if we take it from Policy Bazaar?
So, Dipanshu, you can buy it from anywhere.
No, I'm just asking like
No.
what all
Just getting to the answer. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking whether or not you buy it from policy, but as long as you have an indemnity policy, all the legal costs involved, where you said any kind of court fees and the fees of the lawyer, that will be covered, and the compensation awarded, if any, during in the court, that would be covered. Anything other than that, let's say if there are any personal expenses in getting to the court, or arranging the lawyer, or the commute required, or the flight tickets required, any kind of personal expense, that won't be covered.
Right. So the lawyer has to be arranged by the doctor who has taken the policy, or Policy Bazaar will help us out in having a lawyer.
We'll always have a panel ready for you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be completely your choice, because we understand, Dipanshu, that there are a lot of doctors or healthcare practitioners in tier 2, tier 3 cities, or maybe they are in a situation right now where they don't have access to good lawyers. So that's where clearly we come to the, we're there to support. And there are more than enough doctors who are our customers who know a lawyer and who already have their trust in somebody, maybe in their family, or they already have a family lawyer, or they already have trust in someone. So they are free to choose whoever.
So let me
But
go
that
one
is
step
that,
ahead and say, Dipanshu, let me go one step ahead and say Ashu's already vouched for it, and he's promised me that all YOSI members, no matter where they are in India, within 3 to 4 hours, he'll try his best to get us a lawyer and get in touch with us if this ever happens to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my only request would be over here, and especially, I mean, if we are not able to create that kind of confidence, and if the relationship manager is not there always for you, the first point of contact should be us in case of any such adverse event, so that we can guide you right from day zero and exactly how should we tread these cases. And if it may so happen that you don't reach out to the Policy Bazaar team and you reach out to the insurance company directly, your claim will still be filed, and eventually it will come back to us, and somebody from my team will call you to assist you.
Yeah. And I think we also close down on the fact that we're going to have a key member of YOSI's and key member of Policy Bazaar available 24/7 on a WhatsApp group, so that any of our members have anything, or if they have something that they want to talk to our members about, we have a common channel of key members from both sides who are in direct communication with each other. So, for example, if Dr. PK or anybody else has a problem with his indemnity, he just reaches out to these disclosed key members of YOSI, and we will ourselves make it a point to voice our discontent or content to the Policy Bazaar key member team, so that everything is ticks like clockwork. So we will have that
Absolutely.
hotline chat box together.
Absolutely. And so we are
also the
understanding.
I heard out. Also, the relationship manager which is being made available, will that person be available online, or that person will fly down to, probably say if I'm in Indore, they might, will that person come down to Indore and help me out with the court work, or will that be done online?
Whenever you would require any kind of physical presence, we'll facilitate that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you.
Before we move on to the endorsement video, and thank you so much to the entire general, council members for that. I'll just take this question by Dr. PK. So this one-shot insurance for hospital that he said, I'll give you a very simple example. So let's say if you go to McDonald's and we want to have a combo meal, like which is maybe, let's say, a burger, a Coke, and a fries. So it's our choice. I can go and order a burger, a Coke, and a fries, or I can go for a combo meal. Now, if we want the 360-degree coverage for our hospitals, which is basically for doctors as well as any kind of indemnity cases arising, any kind of property cases, it's going to be very easy for me to bundle those plans. The product at the back end will be 3 very, very different products. The underwriting will be done very, very differently. But bundling them together and making sure that you have one unified experience and you have one point of contact for any kind of adverse experiences, that is something that we'll definitely enable.
Excellent. And also, your relationship manager Ashu's again confirmed to me that they'll also look after getting you other insurances. For example, you want mediclaim for your family or anything else, that because Policy Bazaar does have the capacity of reaching out for you for other like car insurances XYZ. So Ashu said he's going to get you the best possible rates and the best possible companies to tie up with. And a lot of times we have a lot of questions, that go unanswered because everything is sold to us is so rosy, but it may not be. So he's going to be your man in the inside, and he's going to decipher your policy for you. So if you have any questions, I'm sure he's going to help you out there as well, and his team.
I promise you. I promise a concierge service. Yeah.
Excellent.
See, it's Aditya, it's not something that it's a mainstream activity for us, right? That's
Absolutely.
something
Absolutely.
that's built. Policybazaar is built on that. So definitely for YOSI, 100%.
That's why we strongly support this MOU, each and every one of us, and we are quite excited because we've ourselves experienced it. And I think the next video is going to speak volumes. We can go ahead with that video.
Hi, I'm Dr. Karan Bhatia. Hi, I'm Dr. Karan Bhatia.
Hi, I'm Dr. Prasanna Venkatesh Ramesh.
Hi, I'm Dr. Aditya Sethi.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nilesh.
Academically, medically or surgically, the risks associated with this and our profession also increases. Sometimes there can be an adverse reaction to a medicine, which is not at all our fault. Therefore, it is very imperative that we have a professional indemnity with us.
The unexpected challenges that arises in our practice, whether being dealing with legal matters that can arise from a complex case or protecting our expensive medical equipments or having the right insurance coverage. All these are a must for us. That's why I'm thrilled about YOSI's collaboration with PolicyBzaar for Business.
Retail policies that we are trying to get accessible to our members with PolicyBzaar for Business, which could be better motor deals, better hospital indemnity deals, better life insurance coverages, better healthcare insurance deals for families. The reason we are doing this is because as doctors, we know the complexity of insurance, and this actually helps in preventing any sort of wrong steps by these young eye surgeons and young doctors, which later can drain them financially and also not give them the cover. So the key advisors of PolicyBzaar for Business are available to Young Ophthalmology Society of India members. Being young eye surgeons, we do not have deep pockets, but at the same time, we are at a high risk for any lawsuits or any other legal problems in our practice. Has made it possible for all young eye surgeons in India who are members of YOSI to get indemnity rates for a very affordable price.
Also, they do provide 365-day coverage for you in case of a claim.
What stood out to me the most was how smooth and straightforward the whole process was. PolicyBzaar for Business worked closely with us to understand our unique needs as doctors, particularly the challenges faced by young ophthalmologists. The team ensured that the coverage was both practical and affordable, which I know is a priority for many of them.
Hope this collaboration and this partnership with PolicyBzaar for Business with YOSI is beneficial for you.
Thank you for your patient hearing. I hope all of you do subscribe to this and avail this facility by PolicyBzaar for Business and YOSI.
I thank YOSI and PolicyBzaar for Business for bringing up this fantastic opportunity for YOSI members. Thank you.
Excellent. I think after seeing that, you better pitch this for PolicyBzaar at the World Cup. That's the right ad.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you so much. I mean, thank you everyone from the bottom of my heart. This endorsement video means a lot to us. I mean, it may for us, it's a very big deal, honestly, the endorsement by all of you, because it kind of validates the cause that we are working for, and it appears that what we are doing, it's in the right direction. And with the YOSI as an association growing and the members growing, I see this partnership also growing stronger with each passing day.
Excellent. I think Karan has a few words to say, and Sonal ma'am also.
It's looking forward to this wonderful collaboration, and I'll say that I've taken 6 insurances from you for my family, health, car, etc., etc. And Ashu, thank you for your team for this, wonderful, you say person-to-person contact and always being available. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karan, for the nice words. Thank you so much.
I'm also grateful to Policy Bazaar for Business because they answered my queries very patiently, not just in this webinar, but otherwise also. I took one policy recently, and after that, my husband and I have planned to take a few more policies with them. And that has only been possible because of Mr. Ashu Batra and both Ashu Bajaj helping us out at each step. And obviously, Aditya is the person who's brought in this particular collaboration. So thank you to him as well. And I hope that the way we have benefited, all the young YOSI members will benefit from this association, and they will also have the specific handholding that they require at their stage in life. Every stage in life has different requirements, and I hope that YOSI can help them in whatever stage that they are in, the way they have helped some of the GC members recently. See all the best to Policy Bazaar for Business and the YOSI collaboration.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sonal.
So Ashu, I just want to inform you that we have a very vibrant and very strong medical legal team from YOSI, and Dipanshu has been part of it. Kaushik has been there, Aarti has been there. All three doctors have really done a great job with it, and they hold a webinar almost every month. So we would want you to, with Dr. Mr. Malhotra here and both Mr. Rakesh and Kushal, we can obviously get them also to give their opinions there about different things when it comes to that. And I think this will be a great, a fulcrum point that we have these key members who are already so inclined towards solving our medical legal issues and talking about them so vocally on webinars to get everybody together in the right forum. So I just want to introduce Panshu to you in a more formal way.
Anytime, sir. Anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rakesh sir. Thank you, Kushal, for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks to all the GC members. Thanks to all members of YOSI.
Yeah, Divakant is also. Divakant, are you there? Prasanna also has something to say. Prasanna.
Prasanna sir wants the yo photograph.
Picture.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have to do a picture. So
I'm
everybody has
sorry. I'm sorry. My camera has stopped working, so I'm just on the audio. Prasanna sir,
Possible to get everybody in one frame?
Yeah, I am also taking. Yeah.
Yeah, you take and share on the group.
Yeah, yeah.
request everybody to put on their cameras and do the yo.
3, 2, 1. Cheers. One more. 3, 2, 1. Done.
Thank you.
Let's see
Thank you so
everybody
much,
soon
everyone.
physically. Let's see everybody soon physically. I'm sure we can come around, make some plan for it. I and Ashu already thinking of a event that we can hold somewhere and we can get everybody together.
Aditya, the broadcast is still live on YouTube.
नहीं
Yeah.
काट दिया उसने.
नहीं वो उस पे है, so we can I will have to end the stream to stop that.
All right, so I think we can do this another time.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone. Thank you so much.